Why did that teacher get fired from your school? He got a female student pregnant at the same time his wife was pregnant. His wife was and still is a gym teacher at the school. This one you can find in the news. It's hard to explain in story format. So here's a sequence of events. 1. Chemistry teacher and boys-girls water polo coach. Same guy. Calling him Mr. V for simplicity's sake. Went on a business trip to Texas. 2. Mr. V has a Grindr account. 3. In this particular area of Texas, there is an amateur to catch a predator team on YouTube. They set up the bait by contacting men and claiming to be underage after a conversation with the man. In this case, the bait was 14 years old. 4. Mr. V has a conversation with the bait on Grindr, supposedly during a business event, in which he sends nudes and asks sexual questions. Explicit photos are sent by Mr. V both before and after learning that the bait is 14. You can clearly see his face in the nudes that he sent. 5. Mr. V asks the bait to meet him at a Walmart so that he can give the bait a blowjob and potentially have sex in one of the bathrooms. 6. Mr. V pretends to have stomach pain, leaves the business event, and goes to the Walmart to meet someone who he thinks is a 14-year-old boy. 7. The sting takes place and the amateur TCAP team traps him and follows him around Walmart, yelling at him and accusing him of being a pedophile. Mr. V acts as if he doesn't know them at all. 8. That all took place last summer, and someone from our school discovered the video online and recognized him around December or January. Here are some news articles about it. 1. Seattle Times. 2. Auburn Examiner. 3. Fox 26 Houston, with a news story that has censored clips from the video in question. I'd post a link to the original video, but it was deleted. Edit. A lot of fellow ARHS alums popping up. That's honesty kind of surprising. Small world I guess. Edit 2. To my knowledge, he was not arrested or jailed because of how he was prosecuted. An amateur YouTube TCAP sting. The evidence was ruled circumstantial or something to that effect. He was fired though. High school gym teacher. Apparently he showed up to a hotel room expecting to bang a 13 years old but got busted by the cops instead. I replaced one teacher. She was young and pretty and was photographed kissing one of the seniors in the parking lot. She embezzled thousands of dollars from various club funds. There were also rumors of her sleeping with students, but the administration never bothered to look into that. Middle school PE teacher walked into the girls' wardrobe and asked if he could watch one of them change their tampon as a joke. Arrested by the FBI for credit card fraud. It was a few months after the arrest when the reason why he disappeared came out in the open. She was always drunk and drinking during class. She would leave us to cry in the bathroom. Dating a 16-year-old student. He was the band teacher. He also had a wife and kid. He went to jail and is now a registered sex offender. Explained elasticity by pulling the bra strap of a girl. Another one for having relationship with a girl from 8th grade. 14 yo. Our new band teacher was a young guy. Fresh out of college. His first year teaching and he embezzled about $1,000 from the band's funds. He got arrested and his possible future career ruined for $1,000. Edit. Probably my favorite part of the story was that he went by the name Mr. E. So once he was gone, the ruthless band kids referred to him as Mr. Embezzlement. Oh boy, where to start. Elementary school nurse was fired for taking the kids' medications. HS band teacher slept with a 15 years old. Swim coach left a hotel that he was at with his mistress drunk and killed someone with his car. My high school had like 400 students. One of the elementary school teachers at the district I went to got arrested for making his class worship him like he was a cult leader. He was totally bonkers. A coworker teacher got fired 2 weeks in the new semester, when instead of uploading a video related to his subject, he instead accidentally continued a previously paused hardcore lesbian scene on the big interactive screen. The computer he was using was slow and shitty too, so he couldn't quickly exit the video. It went on for a good 30 seconds before someone pulled the plug on the screen around the same time he lobbed the laptop about 30 feet across the class. He didn't come to parent-teacher interview night. The next day, he was late for class and crashed his pickup into a brick sign outside the school. Cops showed up obviously and allegedly he blew twice the legal limit. He called the principal a cunt as he was taken away. Students laughed she ate toothpaste. Turns out she was an alcoholic trying to cover her breath. Sending nudes to a student. He got arrested driving through Nevada over the summer with 5 pounds of weed in his car that he'd bought in California. He had no intention on telling the district, and we only found out because a news reporter from the town he was arrested and contacted our superintendent for a quote on the matter. He was let go immediately. Edit. Here is a link to the article and I've corrected the weight of the weed that he was transporting. Apparently this story has been retold so many times that the amount of weed increased substantially with every retelling. Coach, history teacher of course. First off, some of the early warning signs we all should have noticed first. He showed up the first day of school and told us he was a youth minister and that we would always see him in long sleeves and pants because he had tattoos and he regrets them. That he didn't want to accidentally encourage any of us to get some too. 2 weeks later he is in shorts and polo shirts showing off multiple Looney Tunes tattoos. He taught 6th grade US history out of a textbook. Word for word. We did multiple chapters a day and were expected to do every assignment listed for each chapter. This averaged about 3 hours of work a day. In 6th grade. He was the only class that year to regularly assign homework and he received multiple parent complaints about the workload. He would often leave the class alone to read chapters. He would then go out to the hall or parking lot to make out with his girlfriend who would arrive randomly. He was the middle school track coach and thus spent a lot of time in and around the middle school locker rooms. Too much time. He took photos of the kids running for the yearbook. These pictures eventually made it onto his work computer desktop. Then his phone background. Only the girls though. But the final straw that got us out of his care. He showed up to a middle school basketball game drunk and tried to yell at the ref. He was fired that day and not allowed back on campus. Female PE teacher. She got caught sniffing a girl's underwear while she was showering. 2 teachers. They got caught fucking in a classroom. My math teacher was a volunteer first responder. In NY. She left school to help out during 9/11 and was fired for not showing back up for 2 weeks. She had fallen off the wagon and was drinking a lot to the point where it was affecting her memory. We kept doing the same lecture on density in 6th grade science for a month. Until one my classmates decided to ask another teacher about it. From there she went to rehab. If anyone wants more context. She was our homeroom and science teacher. She was very nice. And married to our assistant principal. So she had a little bit more leeway. While she was able to remain sober for a while. She eventually passed away due to the effects of her addiction a few years after this. She never seemed like a bad teacher. But she was always stressed to the absolute maximum. Always felt like she was working from behind, and generally struggling to keep up. You know, the traditional tail end of the functioning addict lifestyle, asterisk affecting rather than affecting. That may have been one of the lessons I missed. Geeky AV teacher that everyone loved. Knew he was a geek and owned it. Caught in a predator sting trying to solicit underage girls. The kicker was a spring school levy was coming up. Local police conspired with the school district to hide the charges for 3 weeks until the levy was passed. Someone substituted his class for 3 weeks. Yay, everyone was both devastated and pissed. The district ended the school year early. One was fired for beating his wife and kids. Another one, assistant principal, was fired for sex with a male student on campus in her office. Another, the principal, resigned because he knew about that carrot and let it happen. Edit. Here's a link, haha. The principal of my elementary school got fired the first year he was hired. Or took leave before he was arrested. I'm not actually sure which came first. So a couple kids in my 4th grade class thought they'd prank the science teacher by pouring iodine and bleach into his coffee when he wasn't looking. The teacher tasted it as soon as the drink hit his tongue and immediately spit it out. He grilled the class and the kids admitted to it and got sent to the principal's office. The principal found out which of them physically poured the chemicals into the coffee. Then took him into the bathroom to discipline him, hit him. Apparently he grabbed the bottom of his jaw while screaming in his face. You could hear him echoing through the hallway. Then he squeezed hard enough that the boy started crying. So he slapped him across the face and told him to stop crying. The kid's dad was a lawyer, by the way. Suddenly cops were in the building and our new principal was out the door. Edit. Along with the kids who poisoned the coffee. Edit 2. Fun fact. One of those kids ended up becoming the local LSD dealer in high school. He showed up to a house party at my friend's house and spiked his 55-gallon fish tank with acid. Nice expensive fish too. Oscars. Lionfish. Etc. All of the fish died. Edit 3. Correction. There was more than one fish tank. I think the lionfish were separated from the Oscars. Sorry fish people. My memory is foggy. Either way, all those fish were belly up the next morning and the big tank became a bottle cap receptacle after that.